Welcome to DearEX, a new podcast series from the creators of the Mohua Show. In this podcast, we will speak to individuals who've had the courage to call it quits in their relationships and marriages when it wasn't working any longer. We will discuss the dreaded D word of divorce, which most of us shy away from. DearEX will speak to once married, now single folks, people going through heartbreak, counselors, and lawyers to bring you honest, trippy truths of what it took to say no more. Hi, in today's episode, we have with us Sarita Salvan, an advocate of positive divorce. Now, that's a word that I think a lot of people are not very familiar with. Sarita was born in Gurdaspur, raised in Norway. Sarita blends Eastern traditions with Western values. She's also the author of The Good Divorce. Now, I'm sure a lot of my listeners would wonder, what is good divorce? She shares wisdom on separation with empathy. As a resilient single mother, Sarita challenges divorce, stigma, and advocates for societal evolution. So welcome, Sarita, in today's episode. And I think there'll be so many listeners who would be dying to know from you, what do you mean by the good divorce? Because there is such a stigma even now in India. And a lot of people will tell you that continue, stay on as long as you can, but don't break a marriage, So tell us a little bit about your background and how your cultural influences shape your views on divorce.
Hi, Mohua. I would firstly say that I was born in Norway, but my roots are from Punjab. My father came in the early 70s to Norway. So all my siblings, we have been born here, brought up a bit in Norway, but then we went to India, like for the cultural enhancement, I would say, according to, because at that time, parents were new to the country, Europe. So they really wanted that, their children have both sides, to learn from. So we went back to India, studied my master's in India. And then I came back, got married, and it was a love marriage. I found my partner in the college I was going to. So, yeah. And I have a daughter. She's 17 this year. So that's a bit about me. Um, I agree when you say this. I don't, firstly, the word advocate. I think the good divorce and advocate are very strong words, and people, I think, are misunderstanding that I'm not advocating for anything. I'm just saying that if a relationship is broken, you know it very well deep inside you, so then you don't need validations from the people around you. You need to first accept it yourself. And I feel where I stand today that yes, I can say that if done well, with respect, keeping and considering both sides, especially when you have a child, then there is a huge possibility that you'll sit like me today, that I feel calm, I don't feel any regret, I don't look back and say, oh, I think I didn't do it correctly. So it's just being happy, and that's what I am today. And I definitely know that my ex-husband would say the same. So if that's, yes, a positive or a good divorce, yes, it is. It's definitely a good divorce.
So, Sarita, everybody may not be as lucky as you are, where the spouse also equally understands, and I would just wonder, what is it that a woman would or a man would need to do where there is a lot of anger, resentment? Because, anything that comes to an end doesn't come about when you're happy. It always comes about when you're unhappy with each other. And that's when you end, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, and a marriage, of course, because marriages in India are so social. They are all about the families getting to know each other. If the families don't get along, there are problems with that. And whether we call it love marriage or an arranged marriage, which I think these are terms only used in India, I think marriages in India are about the families knowing each other. Cutting all of that off requires so much of inner strength. What made you write this book called The Good Divorce? Tell me about that.
Yeah, as you say, it's I am scared to say when I always use this word Indian background. See, of course, I'll use much Indian because I have an Indian background, but um, I feel when you say marrying a family, that's true. there's so much of burden that is on your shoulders, when you get married, whether it's a love marriage or an arranged marriage. I think you carry that responsibility throughout, and I think I'm still carrying it forward, because even though I am, like, we are happily separated or divorced from each other, but we have a daughter, so we are still carrying that responsibility together. And me being me, I never wanted a divorce, for sure. Nobody wants that. Everybody tries their best. I've heard a lot of people saying, yeah, you could try a bit more. So that try a bit more is very individual. I don't know where a person breaks down, but when you ask me, I think that was it. Like, it was not a physical abuse, it was no domestic, it was just that I just didn't feel happy. I felt that there was something that was missing in that marriage. And whenever I talk from my side, because I can only vouch for my side. And when I see that things have gone better, I won't say best, but they have gone better. Rather than being in a unhappy marriage, I felt that, the world should know, especially Indian background, because I agree when you say that we still fear that stigma, and I didn't know that. I felt that I've never felt it because of the strong background I come from, but as soon as the book came out, I saw there was the stigma still. I mean, I see people are scared to talk about it. I still feel that people, shun away from saying something good about it. They say, no, 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 it's not our part, it's not our part, it's okay. No, no, we should try the maximum we can. But that maximum, I don't know, that's very individual. So when I saw that I have done something good for myself, I've gone through a personal transformation, why not share that with the world? That, okay, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I don't say that I'm really proud of it. Okay, I'm sitting on this side and talking. No, I'm just saying that it should be an option, and people around us should respect it. They should respect our choices like anything else. We respect people if they are, vegetarians, non-vegetarians, drinking, non-drinking people. There's so many options, but do we stand up and question them that this is wrong and this is right? We can have our opinions, but we need to let people live the way they believe in it. If it's working for them, I think none other than but the people should be happy for them.
Sarita, as a single mother, I'm sure there would be challenges of raising a daughter, with the dismantling of a huge relationship in your life, right? How have you gone ahead and dealt with that?
I was scared in the beginning. I wouldn't say, see, when we use a single word, my ex husband is really supportive. It took us time to be there, and he's been responsible. And that, so I would say I had the same fears. And I think we, being the background we come with a lot of fear. What will the people say? And people used to come and tell me, you have a daughter, how is it going to be, how is she going to get married? People, men would look at it in a different way. And I used to look, I mean, I have not even come so far. She's just 6 or 7. I don't even know how far I will be able to, what are the choices I make during that journey. So even if I stay with him, I don't know what courses of action I would take. So that fear has always been there. It's not there anymore. I don't feel scared, because I would say I come from a uh, European background. I would say very financially stable. It took me time, but I really worked hard, because I think what scares you as a person, be it a man or a woman, it is that financial stability. If you're financially stable, most of your work is done as a single parent, I would say, because then you don't have to be dependent on the other parent for doing the basics of life. And as soon as you feel that you are financially stable, I feel you give up that fear. It takes time. So I have not really, personally, if you ask me, being coming from the background I come, people have not really attacked me. I've not faced that issue. It, you could say, because it's Norway, it's not the same. So I don't know how it would have been if I would have been in India. I do not say, I cannot vouch for that. But coming from a background I am now, and the country I am in, I mean, it's not considered as a stigma in the daily life. I might feel that cold shoulders from maybe the elders from the Indian community or the people who don't believe in it, but I have not faced that issue in the Norwegian daily life of mine. Like, going to school, taking her to exercises, activities. No, I have not faced that thing. But that is also, I was very strong mentally. I didn't feel ashamed. That's the problem. So I think if people are going through that process, you first have to accept it and not feel ashamed of it. If it's there, it's there. You are divorced, you are divorced.
So, Sarita, that's not a problem. Let me just correct you. That's such a great quality to have. To not have fear, to be strong, to know that this is what is good for you and your child. Of course, where it's nicer to have a happy mother and a happy father than to have two unhappy people wanting to hold on just for the sake of society and just for the sake of the fear. So, the next question that comes to me is this: that empathy becomes a very important part, in having a positive divorce experience, and empathy is a very very evolved emotion. Not everybody can be empathetic. So, how do people cultivate this during such times?
Are we talking that how I received or the empathy from people? Or are we talking about ourselves?
Your own self, the empathy that you need to have for the situation around you. Sometimes what happens is there is self blame. You keep thinking, oh my god, why did I go wrong? Being kind on yourself, I think, as people who are going through a separation, is also a very important part, and that doesn't come immediately. It comes after a very long time, when you say that, okay, I need to be kind because this was the reason at that time this made sense, and this time it doesn't make sense right now. So just to even cultivate that self love, and to cultivate empathy for like you said, a good divorce where you have a very positive relationship with your ex partner. So tell us a little bit about how you cultivated that for yourself, or was it there always from the start?
No, no, no. It was not from the start. That would be a lie. I have stalked him. I have been rude. I've done my part. I mean, even though I was the one who wanted it. So I used to hear when people used to be very, I won't say unkind, but I think they don't know what they're talking about, right? So they used to come up and say, oh, Sarita, like it was you who initiated it. Why are you crying? I say, no, because I am feeling the pain. I should be allowed to feel the pain, even if I was the one, if I felt that I was not happy, if I felt that we could do better in separate homes for our child also, for us also. So I think I was just blessed, I would say, that I did not take too long to blame myself. Of course, I think I did the blaming during the process of my marriage. I kept on trying, I kept on trying. And like I said, there was no domestic violence, there was nothing wrong in it. But it was just that when I came home, I never used to feel that there was something positive in us. There used to be something that used to, keep us off from each other. And I'm using I because I don't want to point fingers at anybody. That's my failure maybe as a person. That I did not feel that thing, even though I knew what I was getting into when I got married. But I think when a person has done his best, you have to answer yourself. Consciously, I knew I did everything I could do as a person, as an individual. So I started accepting it from the beginning only when I went out of the home. I thought, you know what, if I keep doing it, I might do things I might regret even more. Or I might push him to a side that even he will do things that he should not do. So I started accepting that fact that there is something wrong here and I need to move ahead. And when it comes to being kind, people uh, make reminds you that you should not be so kind to yourself. But it's just that I was very stubborn that fact that there's nothing wrong in it. I have to accept it. And there is nothing else I can do about it either now because I have done it. I have to take responsibility of it. When I've taken such a huge step, I have put two lives, that was my daughter and my ex husband, into a questionable situation, then I need to at least do my bit now. I cannot, like, what I feel when I see people around is that the pressure is so much after the post divorce that there is a lot of coming going coming going coming and a lot of blame game, and it will keep going if you don't accept it yourself, if you don't allow yourself, okay, theek hai yaar, I've done it, I know I'm happy, and I really hope the happy, like, the other partner also becomes happy sooner or later, because there's nothing more I can do about it. That is the acceptance. So I just accepted that.
Amazing, Sarita. I mean, I don't know how else, if you were anywhere close by and not in Norway, I would have just gotten up from the chair in the middle of this recording and given you a tight hug, because I think yes, you represent, the way forward and the way it should be when anything of this magnitude comes to an end, and how it can be done beautifully, which isn't easy. And awesome. Sarita, would you mind reading a few lines from your book, for our listeners, a passage that means a lot to you?
I think for me, it matters when my daughter wrote the her part. See, when you are into that situation, when you have a child, and when your child validates it, because when I say I need my child's validation, yes, because she is somebody that we both love, we both appreciate. It's a gift for us, and if she actually believes that a parent that, the parents were okay, the parents have done their best for her part, like, we are still trying. I won't say we have done the best, we are still trying as parents. But I think my daughter's when I got it translated, because she wrote it in Norwegian, and when we got it translated to English, I was in tears myself. I said, do you really believe all these things? She said, yes. I believe that I should not put my parents into pressure just because of me. Yes, it's painful, but we'll get through together. And that is what she said like 2 years back, like when she was 15. So I would love to read my daughter's so she says that when I first learned that mom and dad were getting a divorce, I didn't know how to react. I wasn't particularly upset, as I had never felt the feeling of having divorced parents. I thought it was a bit strange that three of us were not going to live together anymore. And there were very few people around me who had divorced parents. I never talked about how I felt because I didn't know it myself. After a few months, divorced parents started to become a part of my everyday life. For the first few weeks, I didn't tell any of my friends that my parents had gotten divorced, not because I was embarrassed or afraid to say it, but because almost no one I knew had divorced parents. Sometimes things were still a little unfamiliar. Today, my parents have been divorced for about 6 to 7 years, and it feels completely normal to have divorced parents. So I feel she, my daughter, she makes me, she just gives me that, that reason to get up every day, to smile, to see, look at her and feel, no, I've not done anything wrong. Like, because again, you have to be kinder to yourself, like you said, empathy. But if the people you love look at you in the same way you look at yourself, I think it just you just feel proud that okay, good space.
Amazing, Sarita, because I think you're raising also a girl who'll know that, it's not the end of the world if you're going to call it quits in your marriage. And, it's such a social construct that most people are frightened and they continue to live in misery, have a lot of diseases that are expressed, if not, in the relationship. In the relationship, it's expressed, via multiple diseases that people have. So, the last question before we end this podcast is this: that what advice would you have, for those currently navigating the challenge, of a divorce, and how can they find strength in their journey? Of course, they need to pick up the book, The Good Divorce. And, but apart from that, a few words from you, Sarita.
Anybody who's going through a separation, especially when you have kids, like the reason I came out with the book is because the children are not responsible for that breakup. It is you as adults who take that quits, right? So when you start uh, putting them into that situation again and again, playing through them, and we all know it very well, what we do, what we don't do. So consciously, we know everything ourselves. So I would definitely no, I would hope that people who are going through this process, especially when they have kids, the family has nothing to do with you. The children have nothing to do with you. It is absolutely your reason because it's you who is quitting it. Do not put the blame and the pressure on the children because the children still have to go a very long way. And if they take your burden, because they love both the parents, just because today you're not under the same roof, I can't expect it. Oh, no, 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 no. my daughter doesn't love the father. No, the father has been excellent. I don't regret that choice. I was given that pressure, to put, distance to the father, but I am so happy. I'm so grateful to my own self again. It is your battle. You have to decide it, and today we can actually sit and have dinner together. We can talk about her, because see, as a child, she needs both the parents, and it is possible. It's just that it's not normalized maybe in India, that okay, if it's quits, then it's like, two separation families, we start back, gossiping about each other. I think it's the whole sole responsibility of the people that are getting divorced to take that in hand, that okay, whatever good or bad, it's our decision or it's my decision, but this is how it's going to be. But do not involve the children. We cannot spoil the future of a child just because today we are not getting along. Because we might get a chance to regret it later, but the child won't be able to go through that. So I really hope, people in India actually see it as a fact that okay, you won't be able to change it either. You might forcefully be there with each other. You might force yourself in the same home just for your children. Forcing that a feeling, but it's not going to work it, and it's going to be even worse for a child.
Thank you, Sarita. This has been an honor talking to you, and I use the word honor because it will help so many of my listeners who are going through a breakup, who are frightened, to call it quits, and for them to pick up the book Good Divorce. Where is it available for people in India? It's available on Amazon, and the Kindle version is also available. Yeah, and if they were to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you, Sarita?
They can in touch with me through my Instagram handle. I'm quite active there. It's Sarita underscore Salvan. I can also request you guys to put it under the video. But yeah, it's very easy to get in touch with me, and I would love to be a part of a group where people need that support, just to let them know it's going to be fine. I'm fine. He's fine. My child is fine.
Thank you so much, Sarita. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to DearEX from the creators of the Mohua Show. We would be delighted to get your feedback for these candid conversations that our guests shared with us. If you want to reach out to us, DM us at our Instagram page, The Mohua Show. We all know to call it quits isn't easy. To D or not to D isn't really an easy question to answer.